Good morning, viewers. In our last lesson, we learned how to design analytical cash book and receipt and payment using Excel. Today, we are going to look at how to set up a 3-column cash book in Excel. Based on some of your comments from the previous video, where some of you were requesting for a manual on the videos I posted, I would like to inform you that I have this manual which you can use alongside the videos. This is spreadsheet accounting book registered with an ISBN number, and it is written by myself. It has so many topics of which we are going to go through in our subsequent videos. So anyone who needs a copy can contact me for one. Today, as I indicated, our lesson, our topic is 3-column cash book in Excel. This is the traditional 3-column cash book. That is a manual system where we divide the whole page into 2 equal halves. The left side usually taken for debit and the right side usually taken for credit. But using Excel, this is not the way our cash book is going to look like. We see that in Excel, we have several sheets that can be added to a particular workbook. So in this particular approach, we have created a sheet which will contain only the receipt side of the cash book. Then another sheet will be created to contain the payment side of the cash book. Just like the analytical cash book system we designed, this also requires a file sheet to contain our chart of accounts. The chart of accounts that we are going to use in this system are having these classes where we have all customers put together, all suppliers put together, the general ledger accounts also put together. Then we have another column for balance brought down, which is the opening balance. These accounts will have to be given unique names. So all the customers in the list will have to be given a unique name. The same applies to the suppliers, general ledger, and as well as the opening balance. The names we are going to assign to these columns are what we have in column A. So in column A, we have the heading as type, which also means the type of account. So this represents the type of account that we have in our system. The types are customers account, suppliers account, general ledger account, and now we have the opening balance. So CS is the unique name we are going to assign to all our customers in our system. SS will be the name for all the suppliers. GL is the name for all the general ledger accounts, and OB is the name for the opening balance. So we are going to look at how to assign the names. Anytime you are assigning name to a range, you should not include the heading in your selection. So to start with the column A, we are going to select a range from A2 up to A5. So we select from A2 up to A5, excluding the heading. Then we click inside the name box. We click inside the name box. Now the name for this particular selection is type, TYPE. anytime you define a name in the name box, you have to save it with the enter key. So this time I hit the enter key to save the name. Then we go and name all the customers we have in the system. The customers this time are listed in column B, starting from B2 up to B9. If we decide to select from B2 to B9 and name this as CS, any subsequent customer account we will add. For instance, if you should add a new customer in cell B10, this customer cannot be accessed in the cash book, meaning when you go into the cash book, you won't get access to this particular customer. So the best approach to go is to set up the system to allow future items or future accounts. So in this situation, I am going to select from B2 up to, let's say, B15. This means that any additional customer I will add from B10 up to B15, I'll be able to get access to that customer account in the system. So I click inside the name box. The name for this particular selection is CS. So I enter my CS, then press the enter key to save it. All suppliers are also named as SS. So with this, I'll start from C2 up to, let's say, C12. Then I click here and type SS. Then I save with the enter key. The general ledger accounts, I want to start from D2 up to, let's say, D20. D20. Go to the name box, and this is called GL. Then I enter. For the opening balance, beside balance brought down, we cannot get any other item. So with this one, I will pick only the balance brought down and then name this as OB. Then I save it. So I'm done with assigning all the required names to the various accounts. Now, what is left is to move into the receipt side of the cash book to start the design. Now, our cash book is designed in this form. We have date. Date column is where we will record the transaction date. We have the GCS, this column. We will create a list to display the names we gave to the various classes of accounts so that we can select one of them. Under particulars, we will indicate the various accounts involved in the transaction. So when you are recording the transaction, the account involved, you will select that account in this particular column. The reference column is to record any source document for your entry. If you have received check from a customer, then you can decide to put the check number here. If you receive any payment and you issue receipt for the person, then you put down the receipt number also here as a source of reference. And the contra column, if the transaction is contra, just as we see in the manual accounting system. In the manual accounting system, when a transaction is contra, we realize that letter C is recorded for contra entry at the folio column. So anytime the entry is a contra, we see that we put letter C at the folio column for that particular entry. So in our cash book in Excel, we also want to set up the system such that if the transaction is contra, the system automatically should record letter C here for us. The gross amount column, this is where we record the amount involved in the transaction. If there is going to be any discount, especially when we are receiving from customers and we decide to allow them discount, the discount in terms of their percentages will be recorded in this column. As we receive from customers, we indicate the mode of the receipt, whether the receipt is cash or check, because we have cash account and bank account here. So it means that we are likely to receive either cash or check from customers. So in this case, we create a list to display cash and check as receipt mode. Then this is where we post all receipt of cash, and we post all receipt of check into the bank account in this column. And if there is any discount, then the discount value is also recorded at the discount allowed. The top here, we show the balances. So the balances for the various accounts, cash, bank, and discount allowed, are updated here. So after every entry, we expect the balance to be updated. So this is the structure of our cash book in Excel. Now, when we are done with the receipt, we then move on to the payment. So as it stands now, we are working with the receipt. So the moment we finish, we will be able to set up the payment side of the cash book. I want us to design this system in Excel table. So we create a table for our work. Like I told you the last time, anytime you want to create a table, you have to look at where the headings are. And in this case, our headings are on row 7. Our first entry will start on row 8. So therefore, what we should do is that within the two rows, 7 and 8, we can pick any cell. And we should also look at that, observe that our columns start from column A to K. So we can pick any cell from the range A7 up to K8. Any of the cells, we can pick it. So I have picked this particular cell, that is H8. Somebody can pick F7. So anywhere you can pick. And when you select the cell, you will then insert your table. To insert a table, we go to Insert, and from Insert, you see there's table here. So we click on Table. When you click on Table, you see that because we have not entered anything in row 8, only the row 7 where we have typed is selected. If you fail to indicate that your table has headers, the system will introduce headings for you. All the time when you are creating a table, you have to take this option, My Table Has Headers. So we take this option, My Table Has Headers, before we click OK. And now we see that clearly the system has used the row 7 as the table headings. Now what happens if you don't take that option, My Table Has Headers? Let us see. If we create a table without taking the option, My Table Has Headers, then you'll see that the system introduces headings for you, and it labels them as column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. And in this case, the system did not use your headings as the table headers. So all the time, you have to ensure that you have taken the option that My Table Has Headers. Now, this is one way a table could be created. Another way is to go to the home menu, and then from the home menu, you come to this side where we have the styles, and you click on Format as Table. And when you click on the Format as Table, you have the right to choose any of these designs available here. So when you choose a design, then here as well, you indicate My Table Has Headers before you click OK. The last approach is to use the shortcut, and the shortcut is Ctrl+T. So Ctrl+T, then you take My Table Has Headers, and now we've gotten our table. The last time I told you that any table you create in your Excel workbook, you have to give a name to the table. So this particular table we have created is a table called Receipt. So we are going to name this table as Receipt. Be careful when you are naming a table. A table name is not recorded the same way we name a range as we did on the file sheet. If you are naming a range as we did on the file sheet, we do that within the name box. But when you are naming a table, you don't do it within the name box. Where do we do this? In every table, when you are within it, you see the system giving you a new ribbon known as Design. But when you go out of the table, this Design ribbon is not showing here. So all the time, if you want to name your table, you make sure you are within the table. And as you are within the table, you go to the Design tab, And from there, you will see at the left side, table name. Now our table name is table 4. Someone could have table 3, someone could have table 5, it depends. So now I see table 4 here. If you are working and you get another table name, that's okay. You could get table 3, you could get table 5. So this is table 4. This is where we name the table. So this time, the name of my table is called receipt. So I type in receipt as the table name. Right. Now, the next is to come and set up the various columns we have in this table. As I explained earlier on, the date column is for recording the date involved in the transaction. At the GCS column, we create a list to display the names we give to the various accounts. So we create a list to display these four items, CS, SSGL, and OB. And because these items have been given a name type, then it means that we can use the name type to generate a list. To generate a list here, first, we select the cell, and now cell B8 is selected. After that, we click on the data ribbon. When we go to the data ribbon, we look for data validation. Data validation is here. We click on that. And when you click on the data validation, this window opens. By default, every cell in a worksheet is validated to accept any value. So you realize that when you open any worksheet and you start typing, whatever you type, the system accepts it. But from now going, this particular column, we don't want it to accept any value. We are going to define the values we want the cell or the column to accept. So in this case, we change the any value to list. We want to create a list for this particular column so that beside the values in that list, any other value that you put there, the system shouldn't allow it. Now, the moment we indicate that we are creating a list, the system opens another window here called source. So we have the source. We need to define the source for our list. The source for the list is the name called type. So to use the name type to produce the list, we start with the equal sign, then we put in type. When we finish, we click OK. Now, the moment you finish, when you come here, you can see, you can pull down the list and you see the 4 items there. Very good. You can select any of them, but for now, let us leave it like this. We don't select. The next column is the particulars. At the particulars column, we are going to pull a list that will generate the various accounts for us. And this list at a point in time could generate only customers accounts. At a point in time could generate only suppliers accounts. At a point in time could generate only the supplier general ledger account. So you realize that the particulars column is there to give us access to any of the classes of accounts. As a result of that, we cannot use any of the names that we have set on the file sheet, because any name you use to put the list, you are going to get only items bearing that name. Because of that, I said we can't use any name over here, because if you use general ledger, that is a GL, the column particulars is there to give you only the general ledger account. So because we want the column to be able to give us access to all the various classes of accounts, we use a function known as indirect to put the list here. So to create a list, we select the cell. Then we go to data validation once again. Data validation. And here also we change the any value to list. Now in the source box, we type equal to indirect. Then we open a bracket. All right. We are generating the list in column C, but whatever we are going to have in column C will be defined by what we have already selected in column B. So this is telling us that B determines what should be in C. If we are looking for C, you have to depend on B. So here, what you are going to do is that we are going to use B to look for C. Therefore, I will put B inside the bracket. Right. Now, the row we are working on is row 8. So because we are working on row 8, then I'll add the row number to the B. So that becomes B8. So this means that as I am looking for the list in C8, I will have to depend on what is in B8. Then I close the bracket and click OK. We get this message, especially when we have not selected any item in column B. That is where the message will come. It says the source currently evaluate to an error. Do you want to continue? If you had already selected any of the list in B, this message wouldn't have come. So because nothing has been selected, that is why we are getting this. So we just say, yes, we want to continue. Until something is selected in column B, there is no way you can get a list here. See, it is no opening. But the moment you go up and change to CS and come back here, you get the customers. You can move up and down, right? Good. If you change the CS to, let's say, SS, then you come and get the list of all your suppliers as well. When you change it to general ledger, GL will give you the list of all your general ledger accounts. Here are they, right? So that is it. And the reference column, this is for recording the source document number. And therefore, this is not going to be automated so that the user at any point can determine what should be recorded there. Now, the contract column, I showed you that in a cash book system, when the entry involves cash and bank, such as deposit or withdrawal for business purpose, these two types of transactions are regarded as contra entries. And in our cash book, we normally record letter C at the folio column. So with this type, because we are using a computer system, we want to automate the contra column so that the system automatically put C in this column when the entry is contra. Now, at what point do we normally see letter C in the cash book? We could find out from the manual cash book that you realize that when the balance brought down is here, you don't have any letter C here. When you have rent here, you don't have any letter C here. But you see cash is there, cash under particulars, letter C is there. Bank under particulars, letter C is also at the folio column. So it means that we indicate C whenever cash or bank is recorded under particulars. So we can base on this particular scenario to automate the system so that anytime cash or bank appears under our particulars column, then the system should put letter C here. This particular situation calls for if function. So the function that we can use is this. If, that is equal sign, then if bracket open, if C8, where the C8 represents the particular cell, if the C8 contains cash, so you say C8 equal to cash, and you know cash as a text will have to be put into quotation. So C8 equal to cash. Anytime the content of C8 becomes cash, that is the meaning. If the content becomes cash, what should happen? So comma, the value if true, we expect letter C to be recorded. And this letter C is also a text. So we put the C also into quotation. Because it is not only cash that requires that C appears. That means we will have to define the other condition that requires C to be recorded. So we bring our comma, and that other condition should also start with the if function. So if in a bracket, at the same time C8 equal to, and this time we will expect C8 to be bank. So anytime bank also appears in C8, that is where letter C is expected to come. These are the only two conditions that requires letter C to be recorded. So the moment you are done with all the conditions that requires letter C, you bring a comma and then you define your value if false. The value if false means where the C8 is not cash as well as it is not bank. So if C8 is not cash nor bank, then what do you expect to appear under the contract column? And in this case, we don't expect anything to return. So that means that the contract column is expected to be blank or empty. then we close with 2 brackets. Why do we close the 2 brackets in this particular situation? Because we have so far entered 2 functions. The if function has been typed twice. The same way, we can also argue that a bracket is open 1, 2, and for that matter, we need to close the 2 at the end of the function. So this function will record letter C and the contra column. Let us test it and see. So GL is here, and I'll come and pick an account. Let me pick rent. Rent is not cash nor bank. So you see the place is still blank. But as soon as I pick cash account, you see letter C coming. When I change that also to bank, you see the letter C there. If this becomes any other account, let's say capital, letter C disappears from here. So this is how the function is used. Based on my experience in classroom, I come to find out that some students, when they type the function, all right, everything is typed correctly. But when they select the account, the C doesn't appear. For instance, when they pick their cash, instead of them expecting the C to come, the C never comes. This, through investigation, reveals the following. 1, maybe when you are typing the function, right? After typing your cash and you bring you type a space before the quotation, then the spelling of the cash in this particular function will not be the same as the spelling of cash on the file sheet. So let's see, when I hit the enter key, you see the C didn't come because the spelling of the cash within the function includes the space, while the spelling of cash in the file sheet excludes the space. So they are not the same. So whenever you are typing the text in the function, you don't need to hit the space bar after typing, right? Then at the same time, sometimes you realize that when they are typing the accounts on the file sheet, so let's say after typing cash, then they hit the space bar. And the same time, when you select the cash account, you won't get the C or the cash account. Let me pick the cash account. When you pick the cash account, you see the C is not coming, even though the formula has been typed correct. So all the time when you are typing accounts, you should be very careful. But you see, when you come here, because the space is something, it's a character you cannot see, it will be very difficult for you to find out why the C is not returning. So in this case, when I come and type my cash again and return to the receipt side of the cash book and pick my cash once again, then you see that the letter C has come. Very good. Beside this function, this particular formula, there is another formula that we can type to give us the same result. And this formula is the combination of if and or in one particular function. So we have if or. So this is also like this. It goes like this. Equal to if bracket, then or, another bracket, CH equal to cash into quotation, comma, CH again equal to bank into quotation, bracket close, comma, then letter C. Otherwise, we expect empty cell. Now, this function, if you want to read it, it is read like this. If CH equal to cash, or CH, no, this place is supposed to be bank. This place is supposed to be bank. Or CH equal to bank, then we expect letter C to come. Otherwise, the place should be empty. So this is the if and the or function. If and or function means that at least one of these criteria is expected to return. And when one of these conditions is met, then a system should record letter C. That is or. Sometimes you expect both conditions to happen. And where you expect both conditions to happen, for instance, you can instruct somebody that take this particular money. If Kofi or Amma comes, give the money to. So in this case, the person will be waiting. If Kofi comes, the money will be given to Kofi. If Kofi doesn't come and Amma comes, the money will be given to Amma. That is if or. Then you can also say that if Kofi and Amma come, give the money to them. In this case, we don't expect you to give it to only one person unless the two of them come. So unless Kofi and Amma come, if one of them come, don't give it. So this is if and. So a situation where you expect both conditions to be satisfied before the outcome is realized, then we use what you call if end. But if you expect at least one of the conditions to happen, then this one becomes if or. Another one is where we don't expect none of them to happen. If you don't expect none of them to happen, then we have that one as if not. Okay, so now instead of using the if function throughout, you can use the if or. Right, going back, when you use if function and you turn up to tap it more than once, like we have just done here, when you tap it more than once, then we call it as nested if function. So when you have multiple conditions and you want to build if function throughout, we call it as nested if function. Okay, right. Now, at the gross amount column, this place, we record the initial amount of the transaction. I say this because there will be a time where a customer will be coming to pay you. The customer is owing, say, 1,000 cedis. Then at the time of he coming to pay, you decide to allow the person a discount. You allow him to deduct certain amount as discount. So the gross amount will represent the 1,000 cedis. And assuming the discount you are giving to the person is 5%, then you'll be expecting to charge the 5% at the discount rate. So that is the meaning of the gross amount and the discount rate. The only thing I want us to do here is that we are going to format the column so that anytime we type, the system will convert it from just an ordinary number to a currency. That is a currency without a symbol. And this is what you call the accounting value. So I select the cell, then I go home and click on the comma. So when I click on comma, I have formatted the whole column to accounting. Then the discount rate, I'll format this place to percentage so that when I put any value, let's say 5, automatically becomes 5%, right? So I format that place to percentage. At the receipt mode, because we have cash and bank account, it means that a customer could give us cash, another customer could give us check. So anytime we are recording, we need to indicate the mode of the receipt. So we will create a list to display the mode of the receipt. And the mode of the receipt at this particular situation is either cash or check. So we are going to create a list to display the two. So I click on data validation. Now I pick my list. This time, the items I want in my list, which are cash and check. On the first sheet, we don't have that cash and check somewhere. You see, we don't have anywhere where cash and check has been entered, where a name has been assigned. There's no place like that. So because there's no place like that, how do we define this particular list? We don't start with the equal sign. We use the equal sign when you are creating the list from that indirect function, or when you are creating the list using a name. But if the items in the list don't have any name, we just type them in. So in this case, I'll type the first, which is cash, comma, without a space, only the comma without a space, then I add my check. So these are the mode of the receipt, cash, comma, check. When I finish, I will click OK. And then I'll be able to get the cash and the check. Very good. The next section is to create a formula that will do the allocation of the receipt to either the cash or the bank column. And with this one, in a cash book, like the manual one, you realize that there are two conditions that requires us to record amount into the cash column or into the bank column. For example, if you look at the transaction on the January 4th, the transaction on the January 4th is something that means that some amount of 4,000 has been received from Kofi, and it was in the form of check. So here it was check. Check of 4,000 was received from Kofi, and this one has been recorded to bank account. This one means that cash was received from Johnson, and this has been recorded into the cash account. If you look at the entry on the January 2nd, this one, it is some amount of money that has been transferred to bank. And you see, this one, cash has been transferred to bank, right? So this is a contra entry. When you are depositing into bank, you don't need to ask for any receipt mode. But when a customer is paying you, you are recording payment from a customer into a cash book, then you have to ask of the mode of the receipt. I repeat, when you are making a deposit in the bank, you have taken what is in the office, the cash in the office, and you are depositing that into the bank. We don't ask for any receipt mode. When you go and withdraw from bank into the office, we don't ask for any receipt mode. You definitely know where to record the entry. So what this means is that at any point in time, cash will appear under the particulars. No one should ask you where to take this to, straight to the bank column. At any time bank appears at the particulars column, no one asks you where to take this amount to, straight to the cash column. But the moment you record Kofi here, then you have to ask yourself, we are receiving from Kofi, what is the mode of the receipt? If the mode of the receipt is cash, then you record at the cash column. If the mode of the receipt is check, then you record at the bank column. So you realize that recording to the cash column depends on two conditions. One condition is whereby the particulars is bank. Anytime the particulars is bank, automatically the value goes to the cash column. The second condition for recording to the cash column is where the receipt mode is cash. So when the receipt mode is cash, then it means that we are recording it to the cash column. So because we have two conditions to record values to the cash column, it tells us that we are going to have the nested if function. That is, the if function we are going to type twice, two of them within the same formula. Now, I will start with where the entry is contra. And where the entry is contra, then we will expect that particulars column, which is C8, we will expect that the particulars column, which is C8, is bank before the value will be at the cash column. So at any point we get bank recorded under particulars, then it means that the amount involved in the transaction should go to the cash column, and the amount involved in the transaction will first of all be entered in cell F8. So it means that whatever we bring comma, whatever we have in cell F8 is expected to be transferred to the cash column. This is the first part of the condition. The second part of the condition is where we base on the receipt mode. So we say that if receipt mode, which is H8, if that place is cash, so cash as a test into quotation, if the receipt mode is cash, comma, then we expect the amount to be transferred to the cash column. This amount is in cell F8. Brethren, this F8 is the gross amount. A time will come, you'll be receiving from a customer, then you allow the customer a discount. And in that situation, we don't expect the entire gross value to be transferred to cash column. What we rather expect is that the discount value should be deducted from the gross and the net value appears at the cash column. So in this case, we will subtract any available discount from the gross amount, and discount value will be recorded in cell K8 where we have the discount allowed. So that means minus K8. Now, these are the only two conditions. So therefore, if none of these two conditions is satisfied, we don't expect any value to be recorded at the cash column. So we type the quotation marks twice. Nested if function, we have two functions, so we end with two brackets. The question one may ask is that, what about where you are receiving from a customer and there is no discount? Why are we lessening the discount? Why there is no discount? In that particular scenario, because there is no discount, K8 will be 0. And where K8 is 0, when you less it from the gross value, you get the same value. But the moment there is a discount, then that discount value will be deducted from the gross. So that is why we are using this particular function. Okay. When you finish, you press the enter key. Now, going to the bank column, you realize that the formula is almost the same as this, with a slight difference. For instance, at the cash column, we say that anytime bank appears at particulars, then the value should be at the cash column. then it means when you go to the bank column, then we will expect the particulars to be cash. Let me take this out. We will expect the particulars column to be cash before the value comes here. We also said that when the receipt mode, that is H8, is cash, then we expect the amount to be cash, to be transferred to cash column. It means when it comes to the bank column, then we will expect that the receipt mode is check, right? So the function becomes this: if bracket C8 equal to bank equal to cash, comma, then F8. This is the first one. The second one, if H8, which is the receipt mode, this time we expect this to be check. If this is check, comma, then the gross value, which is F8, minus any available discount, which is K8. Very good. Why are we not lessing the discount from the first condition? It is because the first condition is a contra entry. And for a contra entry, the discount is not affected by that particular transaction. Under no circumstance will the discount affect a transaction where you are making a deposit into your bank account. No. So that is why the F8 stands alone, nothing being deducted. But the second part, it could be a situation where you are receiving from a customer and you are allowing a discount. That is why the discount is expected to be deducted. Okay, so I accept. Okay, yeah, I didn't close the bracket. I brought only one. You see, one thing about Excel is that when you type the function correct, if you type the function correct, and you fail to end with the appropriate bracket, the system will recommend something for you. So we found a typo in your formula and tried to correct it too. You realize that whatever is here is almost the same here. The only thing that is different from what I have done is that the system one has added another bracket of which I did not add. So do you want to accept this? Yes, this is correct. So I accept it. Now, you see, because I did not provide the value if false, the system says that this condition I have typed is false. It is not appropriate to leave the false there. If the moment you are able to satisfy the condition, false will disappear and the appropriate value will come. So in order not to show the false, then you have to click at the back of K, comma, then you define your value if false. And the value if false is that in case none of these two conditions is satisfied, the system should set the or should maintain the cell blank. So I type this and I enter. And now you see false has been removed. Okay. The next section is to compute or is to calculate the discount value, the discount allowed value. The discount allowed value is calculated by multiplying the gross amount by the discount rate. So I will start with the equal sign because it is a formula. Every formula begins with the equal sign. So I start with my equal sign, then the gross amount, which is F8, minus the discount amount, the discount rate, which is G8. So gross amount F8, not minus, please. Gross amount F8 multiplied by the discount rate, which is G8. And this will give me the discount allowed. So I enter. Very good. So basically, the receipt side of the cash book is almost done. Now let us test it and see. Let me pick CS here. I'm going to receive from a customer. So a customer, Johnson, let's say the amount involved in the transaction is 1,000 cedis. I put the 1,000 cedis down with no discount. Receipt mode is cash. And you see the value goes to the cash column, right? Now, should the receipt mode be checked? The value goes to the bank column. I believe we are okay. Now, let me rather format the column to give me accounting value. So this time, I'll pick the entire column I, click on this comma, then I pick the entire column J, click on the comma, the entire column K, click on the comma, because the whole column is going to contain, the whole columns are going to contain accounting values. So that is it. When you choose cash, it comes to cash column. This means we will have to open the column so that you can accommodate the value. All right. Now, when I change this to check, I get what accounting value at the bank column. Now, let's suppose that this customer, this amount you are receiving from Johnson, we decide to give him a discount of 10%. So when you put a 10% discount here, what do you see? You see that the discount value of 100 has been calculated, and this 100 has been taken from the 1,000, and 900 is there. So let me change this to cash and see what happens to the cash column. So when I change this to cash, you see that the whole 900 or the net 900 has also gone to the cash column. Okay, so that is the second part of the if function. Let me test the first part of the if function, which involves the contra entries. So I'll clear this one. For that, I will change this GCS to GL and then come and pick, let's say, cash account. So when I pick cash account, because cash account is here, contra entry is there, C, and the value goes to the bank column. When I change this to bank, let's see, when I change it to bank, then you see that the value goes to the cash column. So that means that our functions are correct. Okay. Now, the remaining part of the receipt side is the balances. But you know, you cannot compute the balances while you don't have the payment side of the cash book. So we are going to set up the payment side of the cash book. And after that, we can compute our balances. Right. Fortunately, the structure and the way the receipt side works is the same way the payment side also operates. So we are not going to spend that huge time we have covered so far to design the payment side. All we are going to do is that we are going to create a copy of the receipt and then turn it to a payment. Before we do that, we make sure that any recordings you have in your receipt side, you clear them. We are going to clear the recordings. And after clearing the recordings, we can create a copy of this receipt table and then label it as payment table. Now, if you look through this system, we've recorded some entries. The cells that contain these values, some of the cells are input area, some of them are output areas. Anytime you are deleting values in your worksheet, you should be very careful where you can delete from. Any cell that is an output area, we cannot delete the content. For instance, when I click on this cash column, you see where 1,000 is showing in the cell. When I look through the formula bar, I don't see 1,000 there. I see a formula. So the moment I try to delete this 1,000, I am not deleting only the 1,000. I will be deleting the formula as well. When it comes to the gross amount, while I see 1,000 here, I see 1,000 in the formula bar. So this place is an input side. So when I delete this 1,000 is going. It is safer to delete only at the input side, but dangerous to delete from an output side. So wherever a formula has been entered, you cannot delete the content. So it means I cannot delete this. To get rid of this particular 1,000 is a matter of coming to the gross amount to delete what is there. And you see, because nothing is here, it becomes 0, and that has turned to dash. You get that? Very good. At the contra column, this C we have in the cell. It's not the same thing we have in the formula bar. So it means this is also an output. So to get rid of this C, I'll only have to clear the bank. And then when I delete the bank, you see that the contra C is also deleted. Now this GL could also be taken away. Now I have an empty receipt sheet or receipt table. So at this stage, I can create a copy of this particular sheet and then label it as payment. To create a copy of a worksheet, this is how we do it. We right click on the receipt, the name of the receipt sheet, where the name is. You right click there, and when you right click there, you will see move or copy. So you click on the move or copy. And when you click on the move or copy, you see move selected sheet to workbook called Cashbook. The workbook name is called Cashbook, right? and where do you want to move to? You select move to end. Move to end means that this time the payment will come to the end of the workbook, and that is after file and after receipt. So it means it is going to appear after the receipt. If you select the file, it will come in between file and receipt. Okay. So if you select, it is better you always pick the move to end so that the new sheet will then appear at the end of your workbook. So I click here. If you click OK, you are doing cut and paste. See, we have move or copy. So at the moment, if you click OK, you are moving. Moving means cut and paste. Now, if you want to create a copy, then you see there's an option here, create a copy. So when you click on the create a copy, then this one will stay and the new one will appear as a copy. So we click on create a copy, then I click OK. Now you see another one has come here and it has labeled it as receipt 2. But we are going to change this to what? Payment. So I change this to payment. You double click on the sheet name or you click to delete what is there and you type in payment. So now I have my payment sheet. But you see, when it comes to the table, you have to look at the name. See on the receipt, this table is called, from the design, the table is called receipt, right? So it means that we will have to assign another name for the payment. So I go to the design once again and change from the receipt 6 as I see it to payment, so that we could have different tables. We have a table for receipt, and now we have a table for payment. The next one, or the next item I would like to do is that when it comes to the receipt table, we cannot call this heading as receipt mode. This heading has to be changed to payment mode. So I change this to payment mode, and at the same time, when I get to the discount on the payment side, it is termed as discount received. So this one, I'll change it to discount received, and I'll change here also to discount received. Right. So receipt mode is changed to payment mode. Discount allowed is changed to discount received. All the others remain the same. And finally, it is appropriate or it is better to design the two tables with different colors or with different style, so that at least when you are at a particular page, the color of the page will tell you where you are. So if the two should have the same design, the same color, it will be appropriate. So I'm going to change the payment table design to a different style. And to do this, we click is within the table, right? And then we go to the design tab. When you go to the design tab, you see the table styles there, right? So with the table styles, when I pull down this last arrow, I'll get different styles. So you see, you can choose a different style. I'm going for this. So the payment table has also been given a new style. Now we are getting to the end of this design. And what we are left to do is to calculate for balances. So we are going to calculate the cash balance. Cash balance is always the total cash receipt minus total cash payment. So your total cash receipt minus total cash payment gives the cash balance. So that means when you sum up the cash column from the receipt side, you will have to subtract the sum of the cash column from the payment side to give us the cash balance. Right. Now, because these two tables are having their own names, you can sit anywhere and make reference from the table by mentioning the table name. So to calculate the formula or to calculate the balance, I'll start with my equal sign. To get the total of the cash column from the receipt table, I type in sum, then a bracket open. When I open the bracket, I have to indicate from the table from which I want to do the summation. So this table is called receipt. So when I type REC, you see my receipt is there. The receipt table. It comes with this table icon. So when you are typing and you don't get this table icon, then you are not within the receipt. So I double click on my receipt table, and then they will see that the entire table is selected. The entire table is selected. Then after selecting the table, Then I'll open a square bracket. When I open the square bracket, there come all the columns within the table. You have to select the column that you want to sum. And this time I want to sum up the cash column. So I'll select my cash column, close the square bracket. So you see, the system has selected the cash column for me. The system has selected the cash column for me. The system has selected the cash column for me. Then what I should do is to close the round bracket. So I close the round bracket. This is the sum of cash column from the receipt table. This does not represent the cash balance. To get the cash balance, I have to subtract the sum of the cash column from the payment table. So after the minus sign, then I type another sum. Please, the mistake a lot of students make is that when after they selected this cash and close the square bracket, they fail to close this round bracket. If you fail to close this round bracket, you get it wrong. You need to close the round bracket to complete the sum of the receipt before you proceed to sum the payment. Okay, so sum and the bracket. This time, we are going to sum up from the payment table. So when you type the PA, the payment table is there. You double click on that to select it. Then after selecting the table name, you have to generate all the columns so that we can select the appropriate column. And to get access to all the columns, we open the square bracket. And as the square bracket opens, all the column headings now appear. And I want the cash. So I pick the cash, close the square bracket, and then I close the round bracket. So this is how we compute the cash balance. The cash balance is the sum of cash column within the receipt table minus the sum of cash column within the payment table, which means that the cash balance is the total cash receipt minus total cash payment. Now you hit the enter key. The same approach is used for bank, but because they are close, we can drag it. So let me drag this to the bank column. Then when I double click, this also gives me this formula. The total bank receipt minus total bank payment gives the bank balance, right? For the discount, these two discounts, the one and the receipt and the one in the payment are not the same. While the receipt gives us discount allowed, the payment shows discount received. And for that matter, we cannot strike any difference. What we do is that we will have to compute the total for each one. So here, I'll compute the total for my discount. So I'll type in equal to sum, bracket open. Now instead of typing in, because the table has just one row below the headings, I can just come and click here. And when I click there, it gives me receipt discount allowed, meaning the discount allowed from the receipt table. Close the function and then enter. Now, when you are within the payment side, you need the balances also here so that wherever you are, you can see your cash balance. But the cash, there is no way you can get the cash balance of 100 here and you come and get the cash balance of 50 here, while no entry has been effected. So that means that our cash balance or our bank balance will be the same irrespective of the page you are. So because of that, as it is already calculated here, we don't have to waste time to calculate again. We would rather have to copy the formula from the receipt onto the payment. And to copy the formula, you can do it like this. You can copy. When you select the cell, you can copy, right? And then let's see, you come here and you paste, right? See, it has given us the same formula. So when you click, it gives us the same formula, right? Good. You can also do the copy and paste like this, where you type the equal sign from the payment side, then you go to the receipt side to click on the cash balance. Then you enter. So this time it doesn't come as a formula, it comes as a reference. Okay. So to get the payment balances, you can highlight the balance from the cash and bank. We copy them so that we come and paste it and over here so that we get the balances transferred. Okay, the discount received is a different item altogether from the discount allowed, so we cannot copy that. So with this one, you have to compute a total for it. So equal to sum, bracket, and then we select this cell. We enter. So this is the complete system. What is left is to record transactions to see how the system works. So I'm going to record some few transactions from the examples in the book, and then we all see how the system operates. Okay. All these explanations I've given are well explained in the book. So if you get a copy, you can just follow it. So that even in the absence of the video, you can make use of the book and you'll be able to do exactly as it is in the video. Right. Okay, so the first transaction says that we started business with 700,000 cedis in the bank, right? So the proprietor is starting business with 700,000 at the bank. So this entry is a receipt entry, and the date for the transaction is first March 20. Let's say 1st March 2020. So you come to the date column on the receipt side, then you type like I explained the last time, my computer date format is month, day, year. So March 1st will be recorded as 3-1 or 3/1/20, right? So March 1st, 2020, this is how it has to be. Then because this is a introduction of capital, I'll need a capital account at the particulars column. And to get access to capital account, which is general ledger, I'll have to select GL here. So after picking the GL, then I can get my capital account, and then put the amount 700,000 here. We said this particular capital is supposed to be at the bank column. So it is in check. So I pick check here, and then it goes to the bank column. And you see, being the first entry, it gives us bank balance of 700,000. We expect to see the same 700,000 at the bank, and there we are at the payment side. Okay, the next transaction says that bought motor van and issued 230,000 check for payment. So that is on the 2nd of March. So we are paying for motor van, we are buying motor van, paying in check. So I go to payment side, put down my date. It's the 2nd of March. So March 2nd, according to my date for March 2020. And then this is also supposed to be motor vehicle account or motor van account. So I'll pick my general ledger, GL, look for motor vehicle or motor van. Okay, I have motor vehicle here. This is 230,000 cedis. 230,000 cedis. And this was paid with check. So I'll select check as my payment mode. And you see, this 230,000 check we have paid has reduced the initial capital of 700,000, giving us a balance of 470,000. All right. The next transaction says that bought goods for 50,000 cedis cash. No? The next one says that we drew 100,000 from bank for business use. So this is a contra entry scenario where we are withdrawing from bank into the business. So 100,000 cedis is being withdrawn from the bank into the business. So this particular contra entry will have to be recorded at both sides of the cash book, both the receipt side as well as the payment side. So coming to the receipt side, I'll type my date. The date is 3rd of March. So 3rd of March. 3rd of March, 2020. Still within the general ledger. Now, because I'm taking from bank into the business, it means that the value is expected to appear at the cash column on the receipt side. And for that matter, I have to pick bank here. So bank account have to be selected. And now the contra entry is there. This amount is 100,000. And automatically, without even picking the receipt mode, because it's a contra entry, it goes straight to the cash column. And now, because the corresponding entry has not gone to the bank account balance still shows 470,000. So we go to the payment side and effect that particular entry. So on the 3rd of March, 2020, another GL, and this time I will indicate my cash account and the particulars, put the 100,000 the gross amount. See, automatically it goes to the bank column. And now the balance is 370,000. Okay. Let me record 1 or 2 entries, then end it here. The next one is bought goods for 50,000 cedis cash. So we are buying goods for 50,000 cedis cash on the 4th. So on the 4th of March, so that is March 4th, 2020. Still general ledger. And this calls for purchases. So I pick my purchase account. Purchase account. And this is 50,000. And now we bought the goods with cash, right? So I pick my cash account here. The last entry I'm effecting is that it says that we pay the following the accounts by check less 10% discount. We are paying some people, and these people we are paying are our suppliers. And this is on the 6th of March. So on the 6th of March, we are paying some suppliers. So March 6, 2020, as we are paying suppliers, we have to pick SS here. The first person that we are paying, his name is Keiduku, and the gross amount is 30,000. So we pick Keiduku's account here. The gross amount is 30,000. We come and put the 30,000 here. And now a discount of 10% is received. You see the discount 10% being received shows 3,000, right? Now you say we pay them by check. So when you select the check, the net 27,000 appears at the bank column. All right. The same day, we pay another person. So third 6, that is March 6, 2020, another supplier. This supplier this time is Jano. We pick Jano as account here. And the initial amount we are going to pay him was 50,000. The discount of 10%. This was also in the check, right? Good. And the next, the last person on the same date, another supplier is Biinsian. So Biinsian is also paid, and for him, the initial amount was 20,000, and because of a discount of 10%, we get the check value of 18,000. So this is how the 3-column cash book works. And you see the discount received balance is also computed here, right? Because of time, because of the size of, because I don't want the size of the video to be too heavy for you, I would like to end my recordings here. In our next video, we are going to design purchase day book, and we are going to design purchase day book and what you call it, suppliers account. So when we finish with the purchase day book, we will then link the purchase book and the cash book to design the suppliers account. When we end with that video, we move on to design the sales day book and the customer's account. From there, we can move on to design inventory control account. From there, we can move on to set up a trial balance. We can move on to set up income statement, balance sheet. We can also even come out with the accounting ratios, the interpretations. We can compute accounting ratios. And you see, by the time we realize we are designing the full accounting system. In fact, all these videos shall be coming out in our subsequent lessons. So I urge all of you to study it very well and keep practicing. If you face any challenge, you can contact me either through by giving a comment on my channel or by contacting me through my phone number 0260 939315 or 0260 939315 or 0549 752 316 0549 752 316. So you can send me email to my personal email account jamafrimp JAMAFRIMP @yahoo.co.uk, and I'll respond to all your queries. Thank you for viewing this particular video. Expect more. Bye-bye.